welcome to today's class. For today, no props are needed, so whenever you have your mat and your space to practice, we're going to start on our backs. So take it nice and slow, coming down onto your back. As you come into your space here, find some space between the legs, between the arms and the side body. And just give your body a moment to relax. Come on to your mat and to find your breath at the start of class. Today's class is going to focus on full body stretch and movement. Good way to wind down or to get started in your day. Go ahead and find 2 long, steady breaths on your own. And then go ahead and bring your right knee in towards your chest. You can keep the left leg long, or if it's more comfortable on your back, you can go ahead and bend your left knee, bringing the foot flat to the mat. And as you hug your right knee in towards your chest, you can bring the knee right in towards the collarbone, feel that compression, or if you have a little bit more space, bringing the knee closer to the armpit, bringing the thigh alongside the body, getting a little bit deeper into the hip. Wherever you are, you'll still feel that compression within the front of the hip. Try to breathe into that smaller space, trying to relax the muscles in the legs, bring it a little bit closer towards you. And then from here, keeping the knee bent, go ahead and bring the right knee across the body towards the left side of the mat. Trying to keep the right shoulder anchored in towards the earth, whatever arm variation feels comfortable for you. And just feel the twist throughout the entirety of the spine. Trying to keep the chest open towards the sky. One more breath. And then bring your right knee back in towards center. And then go ahead and lace the fingers back behind your thigh. Keep that angle of the hip about 90 degrees or so. Again, the left knee can stay bent or straight, whichever is most comfortable for you. We're just going to find some space behind the right leg. So as the knee is bent, the toes are pointing down towards the earth. And then as you straighten the leg, drive the toes towards the shin, or point the toes towards the shin, driving the heel towards the sky. Bringing your right leg towards the direction of straight. And then point the toe, relax the knee down. Or relax the lower leg down, bending the knee. Lift the toes up towards the shin, driving the heel towards the sky. And then allow the knee to soften, point the toes down towards your mat. Twice more, drive the toes towards your shin, heel comes towards the sky, finding length even a little bit longer behind the right leg. And then point the toes. Heel comes towards your body. Now go ahead and plant the right foot. Left knee comes in towards your chest, right leg comes long. And then hug the left knee in towards the torso and towards the armpit. Move your thigh side to side, explore the space that you have, what feels more comfortable for you, what allows you to explore the space that you have that you need. And then keeping that compression, keeping that left knee bent, bring the left knee over towards the right side of the mat, keeping your left shoulder anchored towards the earth. Let's get a little bit deeper into that twist. Inhale, keeping the length throughout the body, and exhale, twisting a little bit deeper, letting your body settle a little bit further into the space. And inhale comes back towards center, placing your fingers back behind your left knee, behind your left thigh, and then allow the knee to bend and soften, keeping that hip at that 90 degrees. Toes start pointing down towards the earth. And then you're gonna lift the toes towards the shin, drive the heel up towards the sky, finding a little bit of length behind the left leg. Then exhale, lower down, pointing the toes back down towards the mat. Driving the heel up. Pressing that heel higher and higher and higher to find a little bit more space each time behind the back of the knee. Then exhale, lower. Inhale, drive up. Exhale, lower. Twice more. Inhale, driving the heel up. Keeping that upper body relaxed the whole time as you exhale, lower down. You don't want to be pulling your upper body up towards that leg. You want everything else to be relaxed, all of the movement coming from that left leg. And driving up once more, and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bend the knee, point the toes. And then plant the left foot, bring the right foot to meet the left. Cross the ankles, and then go ahead and press your body up to a seated position. From here, we're going to bring the heels in towards your sit bones. Soles of the feet are coming towards one another, coming into a butterfly pose. Maybe rocking side to side, adjusting your seat so that you feel the sit bones on your mat on the earth. Then as you clasp your hands around your toes, around the tops of the feet, reach the spine long, reaching the crown of the head towards the sky, finding length throughout the spine. And then exhale, forward fold. Maybe pressing your elbows in towards the inner thighs to find a little bit more space, pressing down into the legs. So that downward pressure onto the legs, but keeping that height throughout the chest, the torso. And then trying to bring your body forward as much as you can. And once you feel like you've gone as far as you can, keeping that length, just allow the head to, the chin to round in towards your chest. Allow the head to fall. Keeping the knees aiming down towards the ground, opening up, getting a little bit deeper into the inner thigh. And then if you if you feel like you need support underneath your sit bones when performing these kinds of movements, you can always roll your mat up. If you don't have a blanket ready for you, you can always roll your mat up to give you a little bit of a boost underneath your seat. If you feel like that's something that would be helpful for you to access this kind of mobility here. 2 more breaths on your inhales, finding length, exhaling, folding forward. And then go ahead and rise the upper body back up to that tall seat. And then you're going to keep the left foot in towards your right inner thigh. The right leg is going to extend long. So feel free to adjust your seat as you need. Again, you can keep that little bit of support underneath your sit bones if that's good for you, if that's helpful for you. And then with that, those legs in that position, you're going to go ahead and turn your torso towards the right leg, squaring off, chest to the right leg, and then you're going to fold forward. You can walk your hands alongside your leg, but you can grab hold of the leg if that leverage makes everything feel a little bit more comfortable, more accessible. But then inhales, reaching the chest forward down towards the right foot. And exhale, folding a little bit deeper. Inhale, reach the chest. Exhale, fold. And depending on where you're tight, just so you know that you're not doing anything wrong, you'll feel this in the back of the right leg, but you also may feel it in your back, along your spine, depending on where you're feeling that stretch a little bit more, where you're feeling a little bit more tight coming into class today. Just know that you're in the right space. 1 more breath. reaching long on that inhale, exhale, folding even deeper. Inhale, walk your hands back up to that tall seated position. Right foot's gonna come in, left foot's gonna come out. Make those minor adjustments to bring the right sole of the right foot towards the left inner thigh. Left leg is long. That gentle spin towards the left so that the chest is square over the left foot, the left leg. Inhale, find that tall spine, and exhale, forward fold. You can always grab hold of the leg, the sole of the foot if that's accessible for you. You can even grab onto the thigh or lace your fingers behind your knee. Find that leverage there to pull the chest forward, allowing your body to fold. Just explore where that point of contact is most beneficial for you and your body. And this may be something that you try often, and sometimes you feel it behind the leg only, and then sometimes you only feel in the back or the side body. Allow it to be different. Allow your body to show up differently. And keep those side bodies long. Keep the chest lifted. To find that space wherever you are for 2 more breaths. And then on your next inhale, go ahead and walk the hands back towards your starting position. And then bring the left leg towards the center of your mat, and then extend the right leg to meet the left. So you're in the tall seated position. If you didn't need any support in the first few stretches, you might feel like you need it here. So go ahead and roll the back of your mat as many times as you feel like you need. So those folds can be really big, they can be a little bit smaller to get a few more rolls underneath your sit bones. But just that little bit of support can go a long way, and you might feel that from the get-go. But we're going to stretch forward into this seated forward fold. So sometimes that support's nice. So starting with a tall spine, adjust your sit bones, scooch that soft tissue out of the way so you can feel that support onto the earth. Inhale, tall spine, and then exhale, start to walk the hands forward. When moving through this particular pose, feel free to find a deeper bend in the legs so that you can find that compression, keep that length within the spine, and access that fold with a little bit more ease. We're going to spend a few breaths in this particular pose. So if you do start with your knees more bent, if you find that compression a little bit more easily, then you can start to walk the heels further away from you, while keeping that compression, get you a little bit deeper into that space. Knowing that, so even if you start with knees bent, there's always room to explore. You're not stuck in that modification. You can always work through it. So keeping that chest, those collarbones lifted towards the ankles, towards the tops of the feet. Inhale, find length, exhale, fold a little bit deeper. And whenever you feel like you've reached your maximum length within the spine, feel free to let the head fall. A few more breaths into the space. And go ahead and lift the head if you let it fall, and walk your hands back towards that tall seated position. Unfold the mat underneath you. And then go ahead across the ankles. Shift your weight forward, coming into a forward fold at the top or the middle of your mat. Let's actually come to that top part of your mat to give ourselves some space to step back. So on that exhale, fold a little bit deeper. Inhale, halfway lift, reaching the collarbones out beyond the top edge of your mat. Exhale, fold. Go ahead and plant the right hand. Find a slight bend in the right knee. Keep that left leg straight. And then you're going to open the left hand up towards the sky, opening the chest towards the left side of your mat. Just finding a gentle twist, finding some space a little bit differently than the back side of the left leg. Keeping the engagement through that right arm, keeping that lift through the left side body. And exhale, back towards center. Switching sides, left hand plants, left knee bends, right leg straightens. And right arm opens up towards the sky, opening the chest towards the right side of the mat. Breathing into the back side of that right leg. Keeping that lift, the energy through the left arm. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant the hands onto the mat. Right foot stays where it's at. Left foot's going to take a big step back behind you. Hands are going to come inside the right foot. So if that means wiggling the right foot a little bit closer towards the edge of the mat, go ahead. And then keeping the chest lifted towards the top of the mat, keeping the length within that left leg, driving the heel back behind you to feel a little bit deeper stretch within the front of the left hip. Keeping that drive, that energy, that length. Go ahead and allow the left knee to fall towards the mat. Chest stays tall and lifted. Gaze just beyond the front edge of the mat. Then feel free to shift your weight back and forth, opening and closing the right leg, the right knee. Exploring the space within the right hip. But keeping that length to keep that space within the left hip. So we're exploring our depth, our space within both sides, just a little bit differently in this moment. Take a few more breaths here to just explore your space, rocking back and forth, in and out, maybe forward and back. And go ahead and find center for one breath here. And then on your exhale, shift your weight back. And then allow the right toes to lift, coming into Ardha Hanuman, half splits. So as always, keeping the torso long, the crown of the head reaching towards the space in front of you. Keeping the chest, the collarbones lifted, wide and open. And while keeping that length, sitting the sit bones back behind you. Maybe trying to make an effort to pull the tailbone back and up. It's almost like you're flicking your tailbone back behind you. You're not going to feel a lot of movement, but making that effort into that direction is going to explore a little bit more depth and space behind the right leg for one more breath. And then shift the weight back into that right foot, rebend the right knee. Press through the back toes, lift the left knee, extending it towards that straight position. And then feel free to wiggle the right foot in between the hands just a little bit. Then inhale, coming up into crescent pose. As we hang here in crescent pose for just a short moment, you want to drive the right hip back, pull the left hip up and forward. Again, exploring that length within the front of that hip. And then reaching the fingertips long and high. Driving the left heel back behind you. And then on your exhale, bring the hands back towards the mat, framing that right foot, and then pressing your hips back behind you once more, lifting the right toes if that's comfortable for you. Coming into extended pyramid pose. Keeping the drive of the right hip back behind you. Gentle pull the left hip forward. Keeping the chest lifted, reaching forward, reaching towards those right toes. Plant the right foot, wiggle that right foot wide once more, and then left foot comes outside left hand, and then sit the hips low, coming into a passive squat. Turning the toes out, facing the outer edges of the mat, opening the hips just a little bit more. Just give yourself a moment to relax, to rest, while continuing to explore your space. Just getting ready to transition to the other side. As the hips sit low, press the palms of your hands together, pressing the elbows in towards the inner thighs, the inside edges of the knees. And that action of pressing the knees open should help lift the chest for one more breath. And then go ahead and plant the hands, lift the hips just a little bit, turn the left toes forward, and then big step of the right foot back towards the back edge of the mat. Hands are inside the left foot, collarbones lifting towards the front edge of the mat. Right heel's driving back behind you. You feel stretch within the front of the right hip. And then keeping that length, keeping the drive of the right heel, allow the right knee to drop towards the mat. Keeping that length, that stretch, that attention towards the front of the right hip. And then as you did before, explore your space here, both in the left and the right side. See how things feel now that we already ran to the right side. Allowing the left hip to open and close. Feel free to change the width or the length of your stance to make things feel a little bit more comfortable within the front of the left hip. Sometimes things can feel a little bit awkwardly compressed. So knowing that you're not stuck in that discomfort, make the adjustments that you need, listen to your body, and do what feels good. Sometimes I like to sit my weight a little bit more forward as my left hip opens up, as my left knee falls out. And then I close off and shift back, and then I shift forward, open a little bit more. Just knowing that these few breaths are your chance to explore your movement without any explicit cueing. Get to know your body in these poses. I know I tend to do them a lot because they feel really good. They give you a chance to explore that space, to find space in your hips. Go ahead and settle into your midline. Doesn't even have to be center. You can keep that left foot open. But pull your right hip up and forward. Reach the collarbones long. One more breath. Exhale it out. Inhale to prepare. Then exhale, sit the hips back behind you, keeping the collarbones lifted, the chest lifted, and reaching forward as you sit your weight back. Your left toes come up. And then you exhale, forward, fold, over. The left leg. Bringing the weight forward, it's actually between your hands. It's not necessarily over your left leg. Just sitting the weight directly back behind you. Reaching the crown of the head long. Lifting the left toes. And if that means a deeper bend in the left leg, that is A-okay. If you feel like you're shifting your weight into that right hip, then find a deeper bend in that left leg to allow yourself to target the muscles in the back side there a little bit more so. Last breath here. Keep your length. Find that compression. And shift your weight forward into the left foot. Wiggle the foot in between your hands. Tuck the back toes. Then press through your right toes, lifting the knee towards straight. Then inhale, rising up high and towards crescent lunge. Pulling the right hip up and forward. Reaching the fingertips long, keeping the length, the height within the torso. Driving the left hip back, pulling that right hip forward just a little bit more. Drive your right heel back, keep that length, explore that length a little bit deeper. Exhale, hands come towards the earth. Press the hips back, lift the left toes, extended pyramid pose. Keeping the gentle drive of the left hip back behind you to spin those hips to face forward equally as best as you can. Reaching the crown of the head long. Inhale, find length. Exhale, fold. One more breath here on your own to explore your space. Then shift your way back into the left foot. Wiggle the foot wide. Right foot steps outside right hand. Sit the hips low, squat. Bring the palms of the hands together. Elbows in towards the inside edges of the knee. Lift the chest. Sit the hips low. Go ahead and release the hands. Allow the sit bones to come all the way down towards the earth, feet flat, knees bent, and roll all the way down on towards your back. And you can keep your hands on your belly and your chest, or you can allow them to come nice and wide into a capital T. And you're just going to windshield wiper your knees right to left. Going as fast or as slow as you need to explore your space, or just to loosen up the hips or the low back in this rhythmic motion. Two more breaths at your own pace. And then on your next breath, come back towards center. If you want to find a more closed off or relaxed position, go ahead and bring the feet wide towards the edges of the mat. Allow the knees to come to touch. Allowing the low back to come flat onto the earth. And relaxing your arms out long. If you want to end in a more open position, feel free to bring the soles of your feet together, heels in towards the sit bones, and allowing the knees to open up. Similar to that butterfly pose. And staying in these final resting poses for as long as you need for you and your body. Thank you so much for practicing with me, and I look forward to seeing y'all next time. Have a great day.